With FM24 not going anywhere in a hurry, I've decided to do one of my favourite types of save, starting unemployed and trying to collect a load of trophies. The aim is to start from the very bottom, try and win a top league in a nation, and move on and keep working up the ladder until you reach the pinnacle. So I need to get job hunting so I can move out of this shed. So I loaded up a few leagues, I set up a large database, I ticked the start unemployed button, and set myself up with no coaching badges and Sunday league footballer, past playing experience, aka the lowest of the low. I did the old trick of pumping all available mental attribute points into adaptability to help with getting jobs in countries where I don't speak the language yet. And on the coaching side, I just stuck them all into attacking coaching. So if I find myself in a tiny team with a tiny coaching staff, at least I know I'll be a half-decent attacking coach, I guess. Upon getting into the game, I was met by a message from my personal assistant, Isabella Jones, who's got a very bold haircut. I can only assume this is spam because I don't have a personal assistant. I'm living in a shed. I've got no coaching badges. So I looked at available club management jobs and there were a few low-level clubs that I could feasibly maybe get an interview for. I applied for the Beira-Mar and Valderes Gaia in the Portuguese lower leagues. I mean, starting out in Portugal sounds like it'd be a fun adventure. I also applied for Briton Ferry, who play in the lower leagues of Wales. Briton Ferry came straight back in and offered me a job interview. I mean, I'd prefer Portugal, but at least maybe I can practice my interview technique with them. Now, what colour do they play in? Let me see here. Red. I need to get a red tie. Okay, I found one at the back of the shed over here. I had an interview with their chairman, Wyn Evans. Hey, if Wyn likes winning, he need look no further. Okay, let me just make a note not to say that in the interview itself. But the interview seemed to go well enough. Old Winnie just wants us to sign players under 23, grow the reputation of the football club, and finish in the top 4. We would have a wage budget of £2,309 at our disposal should we get the job, which seems like a lot for that level. They play in a division below the Premier League in Wales. Okay, time to get rid of this pandering red tie, look up some cheap flights to Portugal, and wait for the interviews from Portugal to start rolling in, baby. What's that? Both applications to Portugal were unsuccessful. Well, I have to say I'm glad I put all those points into adaptability. Guess I'm keeping the red tie. Because thankfully, Briton Ferry did offer me a contract on £140 per week, and old Winnie's been a cheeky little bear, because he's gone and changed the season objective from finishing in the top 4, as we agreed in the interview, to finishing in the top 2. He must know I'm desperate. I did manage to talk him up to a whopping £160 a week though. Right, we're off to Briton Ferry, wherever that is. Turns out it's between Port Talbot and Swansea in the South Wales coast. Could be worse. And here's a fun fact. Briton Ferry is the football team that sounds most like Briton Ferry in the world. I'm not sure how fun or factual that is, but that's all I got right now. And plus that's what I think about whenever I see Briton Ferry mentioned anywhere. Okay, time to pack up my thing and head over to start a new chapter at a new club in Briton Ferry, who have kindly let me stay at this place, eh? It's a little office and a porter cabin at the training ground. Wonderful. So I've unpacked my big Sports Direct mug. Let's get to work. So I got a message telling me supporters require me to win promotion to the Premier Division. Let's hope I've got the players to do that with. After setting up a basic tactic, I had a look at the players available to me. Seems our top earner is Luke Bowen. He's 35 years old and is on an eye-watering £375 per week. But he's actually got pretty decent attributes for this level, and he should score a few goals. I mean, if someone comes in for him, I won't say no. But it's hard to see anybody paying those wages. So I imagine he'll be starting for us. I was told that this is our best lineup available, so it seems we're really short on quality at left back and defensive midfield, so I need to make that my recruitment priority. So I'm going to make some signings, and let's come back and see what we look like at the start of the season. So as August rolled round, our transfer business looks like this. These players left. We've never got to know them, so I'm not going to dwell on them. Josh Bull, Jonathan Hood, and Alex Pennock were all signed before I arrived here. So my first signing was 20-year-old left-back Tom Midgley. He's got solid attributes, and he addresses the weakness at left-back that we had identified. He's previously been on the books at Man City and Newcastle. Matthew Laycock is a fine upgrade in goal for us. He's formerly of Peterborough United. Riley Cotter bolsters our options in defensive midfield. He's formerly a prospect at QPR. 6'3" Tom Bamford comes in as a centre-back option for us. I'm sure his 14 jumping will come in very handy. He's formerly off of Huddersfield Town. Jack Shaw looks to be a quality signing in midfield for us. He previously played for Walsall. I needed a centre-back, and so I panic-signed Brandon Thomas without being able to see all of his attributes. I'm not thrilled about his 7 jumping reach, because winning headers is so important at this level of football. But I guess we'll try and make it work. He's a former West Ham prospect. And this last signing is one I couldn't resist. We picked up David Cotterill. He's got 24 caps for Wales, and he has previously played in the English Premier League for Wigan. He's also turned out for the likes of Sheffield United, Swansea and Birmingham. He's dropped into the Welsh lower leagues in recent years. He's 35 with no pace, so it's unlikely that he'll get a game on the wing for us, but we might try him out as a deep-lying playmaker. And so here's how we line up at the start of the season. The only players you haven't met yet are right-back Ryan George, right-winger Tyler Brock, and left-winger Jonathan Hood. Corey Herford is a natural at attacking midfield, but he can play striker, and he looks to have bags of ability, so he starts alongside Bowen up front. And so after all of that, here's a look at our finances. We're $5,000 in the red. It's not ideal, but it's far from the worst I've ever seen at the lower leagues, especially considering our hefty wage bill. And the season preview has us favourites to go up as champions. No pressure then. Okay, so what about on the pitch? Well, we actually got off to a terrible start, suffering back-to-back defeats to Llanelli Town. First, we lost on penalties after drawing 3-3 in the Nathaniel MG Cup first round. We then lost 3-2 to them in our first league game. We went ahead thanks to a Hood penalty. Bowen was on hand to put away this loose ball to make it 2-0 to us, but then we had a terrible second half. They converted this penalty, which was followed by 2 goals from Jemmett Hudson. We did not look good defensively at all in this game. So we picked up 2 new signings to try and help matters. Michael Parker joins us covering defence and midfield. He last played for Flint Town. And we picked up Joe Nightingale, who was previously on the books at Coventry on a free transfer. He's only on £20 per week and he looks like he's got some decent attributes, and he should be okay as an attacking winger for us. Thankfully, things picked up and we went undefeated in our next 5 league games. The highlight being a 4-1 wins against Kairai Ellie. Jack Shaw scored this ridiculous goal after the opposition failed to clear. 5'7" Shaw was on hand again to head in this corner to make it 2. They pulled one back after we were left outnumbered when they hit us in the counter-attack. Starman Corey Herford made space for himself to calmly slot away our 3rd and restore our 2-goal lead. Perkins then drove our 4th in from distance to round out a good afternoon's work. So with all that being said, we end the month in 2nd place, level on points with Ammanford, albeit having played 1 less game. Moving into September, and some bad news saw right-back Ryan George leave the club for Welsh Premier League team Colwyn Bay. He was one of our better players, and with our defensive performance already questionable at best, I decided to head into the loan market. We picked up right-back Neo Eccleston on loan from Huddersfield for the rest of the season, and if anything, he seems to be a slight upgrade. We also brought in centre-back Naz Bakrin on loan from Charlton. He's got fantastic attributes for a centre-back at this level. Fernie is another centre-back who joins us on loan with decent attributes, will likely get some game time. He joins us on loan from Birmingham. And we also did a permanent deal and signed right-back/winger Jordan Hamilton, who will likely be a backup for Eccleston. He was previously at Reading. Just to explain how promotion and everything works in this league, one team goes up, the champions, because in the Welsh Premier League, 2 teams get relegated. The Welsh Premier League's the one that's always won by TNS, where in the JD Cymru South League and then the JD Cymru North's the other one, they're at the same level as each other, it's just divided by North and South. So the champion of each of those divisions goes up into the Premier League, so it's really important that we win this league this season. In terms of results, we progressed in both the cup competitions we're left in, beating Pontrhydywa on penalties in the Tier 2 League Cup, and we also beat Rogerstone in the JD Welsh Cup first round. Back in the league, we suffered a 2-1 loss to Cambrian and Clydach. They went ahead thanks to this stunning goal. There was absolutely no saving that one. Corey Herford then had this close-range header disallowed just before half-time. That looked onside to me. Herford then had another close-range header disallowed. To be fair, this one does look offside. Tyler Brock then did some great work on the right to drive this one in to level the game. Murray then scored their 2nd stunning goal of the game. These guys have been practicing their long shots. And to put the revolting icing on this disgusting cake, Herford then had another ruled out for offside, and then, would you believe it, Herford was caught offside again, meaning this Cotterill effort was ruled out. The FM gods were not on my side in this one. Just look at these match stats. This tells me 2 things. Number 1, we were unlucky. Number 2, Corey Herford needs to learn the offside rule. We did end September in positive fashion at least, winning 3-1 against Abergavenny. Nightingale scored this one after some nice build-up play from Herford and Bowen. Joe Nightingale then got on the end of this ball from Cotterill to smash it home and make it 2. A beauty of a free kick from Shaw saw our 3rd goal of the game. They bagged a late consolation from Walker, who found himself in a lot of space in the box. In other news, the board provided a cash injection on the 17th of September to help with running costs. I hope they continue to do this for my entire run here, because finances are no joke at this level of football. With the new bank balance, I asked for a coaching course from old Winnie. He rejected it, but he said if I put forward a compelling case, he may reconsider. So I went to see him and I said, I'd like to do it, please. And he said, yeah, no problem. Yeah, let me sign the check for that and off you go. I don't think he knows what compelling means. At the end of September, we sit down in 5th on 16 points after 8 games. Despite getting off to a pretty good start, this league is tough. We kicked off October with a clean 3-0 win against Goitre United, who are listed as our local rivals. Joe Nightingale continued his good form by scoring this tap-in at the far post following a lofty cross from Hood. Hereford and Bowen linked up well, with Bowen applying a very nice finish for our second. Hereford got one of his trademark disallowed goals. It looked to be a close one this time. Hood then scored a far post header from a Hamilton cross to round out a very good performance and win. Typical of our season so far, we failed to build momentum and capitalise on this, and we lost 1-0 to Pontredor in an even and scrappy game. They got the only goal after 63 minutes, with Davis having all the time in the world between our two centre-backs to calmly score. We did win against Ammanford in the JD Welsh Cup second round and Avon Lido in the Tier 2 League Cup second round. We ended the month of October with a comfortable 2-0 win against Carmarthen, with Hood scoring with this effort from just outside the area. Baccarin got our second with a header from a Midgley corner. The toughness of this league is still telling as we end October in 4th place despite winning 8 and drawing 1 of our first 12 games. So coming into November, why don't we start with the highlight of November? A crazy 7-3 win in the JD Welsh Cup third round against Prestatyn. And it's not like they're some lowly lower league team. They play in the northern equivalent of our league. They're on the same level as us. Hood opened the scoring with a simple enough finish following the assist from Hereford. Hereford then got himself on the score sheet, and this one did look a tad offside to me, but that's what you get with Hereford apparently. Hood confused the keeper with this tidy finish to get his second of the game. Bowen showed good striker's instincts to be at the right place at the right time, to be on hand to convert this rebound. Hereford had this one chalked off for, you guessed it, offside. I mean, to be fair, he's blatantly miles offside here, it's hard to argue it. Just 4 minutes later and he's at it again, as he has this one ruled out, which is a little easier to argue, I'd say. A lovely ball over the top from Cotterill allowed Hood to apply the finish to get his hat-trick on 48 minutes. Bowen then scored with a delightful volley as he smashed in his second. 35-year-old Bowen sealed his hat-trick on 60 minutes, with Hood turning provider this time. Those two can argue over who gets to keep the match ball later. We were 7-0 up at this point, but as usual, towards the end of the game, we either got tired or lost concentration, but something goes wrong at this point. A ball over the top absolutely did us for this one. Lamb had all the time in the world to think about where to put this one, and Griffiths got their third after some scrappy play following a corner. I'm glad to say our league form was great, with us winning against Carmarthen, Cumbrian Celtic and Llanwit Major, without conceding a goal. But then comes the low light of the month. A defeat against top-of-the-table rivals Ammanford. They turned defence into attack with a well-timed ball over the top, allowing Jones to get in behind to score to make it 1-0. A floated cross allowed Jenkins an easy header to make it 2. This defeat means we actually sit in second, but level on points with Ammanford. Cambrian and Clydach are 1 point ahead with a game in hand. November also saw the departures of Tom Bamford and Brandon Thomas at the start of the month. Both were unhappy about playing time after they were knocked down the pecking order by Loney's Baccarin and Fernie, and both left for non-league Conway. See you guys! It was all about the cups at the start of December. We got past division rivals Abertillery Bluebirds on penalties in the Tier 2 League Cup third round. And then we faced our toughest test to date. Premier League Penabont, who occupy second place in the Premier Division in the JD Welsh Cup fourth round. Hood scored a penalty after 6 minutes to calm our nerves and put us ahead, but that was short-lived, as they equalised after we again failed to deal with the aftermath of a chaotic corner, and Vine put this one away. Over on the left wing, Hood did some good work to cross over to Nightingale, who calmly converted his header to get us a huge win. The game was close and we edged it. I'd say it was a fair result when looking at these stats. We then had a strong showing in the league, winning all of our league games, meaning December was a perfect month in terms of results. The highlight from the league was a 4-2 win over Bagland Dragons on Boxing Day. And just so you know, in these highlights we're playing in yellow. They started off strongly and caught us sleeping with this goal from Richards. They then doubled their lead thanks to this banger from Williams. Nightingale played Bowen in with a lovely ball, finished off emphatically by the veteran striker. Defensive midfielder Shaw then popped up with a goal, Nightingale again with the assist. And then their defender Holmes scored an own goal from absolutely miles out, with a terribly misplaced pass back to his keeper to put us ahead. Baccarin then did a powerful header against the crossbar and followed it up with another powerful header. He converted the rebound to make it 4-2 on the day. You know what? I enjoyed that one. Roll out the red carpet because we've got a Hollywood A-lister coming into the club. Wrexham have got Ryan Reynolds, we've got Tom Holland. The Spider-Man actor joins us to provide competition for places in defensive midfield. Oh no, wait, I'm reliably informed it's not that Tom Holland, but someone with the same name who previously played for TNS. He looks a decent signing and we're short on numbers in that position. And yet again, the fact we had a month like that and we're still 4 points behind first place just shows how hard it is to get out of this league. Ammanford are 3 points behind us but do have a game in hand as well. January was all about the league with no cup distractions this month. We won 3-2 against Bagland Dragons and then ran out 2-1 winners against Llanwit Major. The low light of the month came against Pontredor. They went ahead after 8 minutes thanks to this penalty from Agafor. We equalised thanks to Hood heading in this Eccleston cross, and then nothing else happened. A disappointing 1-1 draw. But highlight of the month came against local rivals Goitre United. We went ahead after 14 minutes with Nightingale converting this deep cross from Holland. Nightingale then provided the cross for Hood to score our second, which bounced in off the crossbar for style points. Hood then crossed in for Nightingale to head in again for his second. That man Joe Nightingale then completed his first half hat-trick after a great individual goal, a mazy run followed by a tidy finish. He wasn't done yet either. He was in the right place at the right time to put away this wayward parry from the opposition keeper, but then Ross Jones moved too quickly for our centre-backs as he split them with ease to bag a consolation goal. Midgley then put this one on a plate for Hood to score his second of the game. Absolutely amazing from both wingers in this game. Some good news, I completed my National C licence. Let's go ask Winnie if we can do another one, eh? Of course, he rejected the very notion via email. I went in and said please and they approved it on the spot. I think old Win might be a bit of a keyboard warrior. He rejects all my requests via email, but as soon as I request a face-to-face meeting about it, he folds like a house of cards. Regardless, I'm now studying for my National B licence, which is nice. We have around 10 grand in the bank, but good old Win, the chairman, does keep injecting cash in to keep us afloat, but that's not a sustainable model, so hopefully we do go up as champions. We end January in second place still 4 points behind Cambrian and Clydach, and level on points with Ammanford. At the start of February, I'm afraid we had to say goodbye to our top scorer and one of the standout performers in our team this year, as left winger Jonathan Hood had his head turned by Premier League Colwyn Bay. He wanted to speak to them and I saw no sense in causing a mutiny by not letting him go. We signed Armelindo Mima to replace him, who's another former QPR prospect. I'm afraid our league form in February was absolutely awful and it seriously dented any title challenge we were hoping to make. We managed a 2-0 win against Abergavenny, but then came up against league leaders Cambrian and Clydach, and they gave us a lesson on why they're the leaders. Let's look at the goals from this one. They scored after a player who is aptly named Cross did a beauty of a cross for their player header. Sorry, I mean Deacon, to head in. I better check none of our players are called Bottle Job. We pulled one back with a nice free kick from Jack Shaw. Cross then got on the end of a cross to head in, which in turn made me very cross. Incidentally, who remembers Mark Crossley? The floodgates then opened as Smith Jordan scored a penalty. Taylor scored after we failed to cope with the aftermath of a corner yet again, before Cross was at it again, his cross this time causing chaos, leading to a daily goal. It was 5-1 at this point. Thankfully, Holland scored a nice goal from just outside the area, and luckily even Hereford can't be offside from a penalty. And he scored this one, which means we lost 5-3. But let's face it, we got outclassed and our goals were 2 set pieces and 1 shot from range. I think we can kiss goodbye to promotion this year. And I'd say that's a pretty safe assumption, as we lost 3-0 to promotion rivals Ammanford to really turn the knife, and we even lost 3-1 to relegation-threatened Caerhilly, a 3-0 win against Avonlea with some comfort at least. But we did play in the JD Welsh Cup quarter-final against Premiership outfit Aberystwyth, and we managed to run out 1-0 winners, booking a place in the semis thanks to this goal from Hereford after just 24 seconds. We actually controlled this game and the match stats look good. We seem to be better against Premiership teams than teams in our own division. But sadly, that makes getting out of the division we're currently in pretty hard. The table makes for painful reading, as that difficult month means we're in third, 10 points behind first place Cambrian and Clydach and 9 points behind Ammanford. Remember, our minimum objective is top 2. I'm starting to get a little bit nervous. Abertillery Bluebirds are just 6 points behind us now too. We need to have a good month and our first game is against 4th placed Abertillery Bluebirds. Nightingale continued his great season and bagged this goal to get us going. 10 points for the finish, 0 points for the forward roll celebration. Yet again, the aftermath of a corner was a problem, as this time the very same player who took the initial corner ended up scoring. Bakrin headed in from a Midgley corner to put us back ahead. Shaw scored this banger from outside the area to put us further ahead. Hamilton played in Hereford, who stayed onside to score our 4th. They then pulled one back thanks to this headed goal from Thomas. Veteran striker Bowen showed his class to put this one away. This ball over the top gave them their 3rd, as our tired centre-back tried to get back with all his might. Another 5-3 game, but this time we're on the right side of it. Hey, you can't say we're a boring team at least. But next, we've got a Welsh Cup semi-final against Premiership Carnarvon. They're actually currently second in the Premier Division, only behind the mighty TNS. Things got off to a bad start as they converted this penalty to go ahead early on. Cotter equalised for us just 2 minutes later, after being teed up by Shaw. Brock did well to keep this move alive and set up Bowen for this goal. Brock then set up Bowen again for this close range finish. Nightingale set up Hereford for our fourth and a huge upset win in our favour. They had the better of the game as you can see in the match stats, but I guess we FM'd them. This ridiculously means we've made it to the final of the main Welsh Cup competition. It's the equivalent of the FA Cup in Wales. And yet it doesn't look like we're going to get promoted from the First Division. It's crazy. We're clearly a good team, just incredibly inconsistent. We also got a win in the Tier 2 League Cup semi-final against Taffswell, booking our second final, which is pretty nice. And then for good measure, we beat Taffswell one more time in the league. Those 2 league games move us closer to Ammanford, but it's too little too late as Cambrian and Clydach are already champions. They have been mighty this season with only 1 loss to their name, so they do deserve it, I suppose. But I'm looking forward to them not being in this league next season. So I guess now we focus on the cup finals. We got our youth intake in April. The best player is goalkeeper Di Smith apparently. Not exactly an inspiring bunch. Better luck next year I guess. But let's move on to the 2 cup finals. In the last 2 league games of the season we beat Trevelyan BGC 2-0. And just like we lost the first game of the season to Llanelli Town, we then lost the last game of the season to them as well. They beat us 3-2. Apparently they just have our number. But let's move on to the 2 cup finals. First up, we had the Tier 2 League Cup final against Holywell. The only goal of the game was scored in the 69th minute. Nobody say nice. And it was scored by captain Corey Hereford after he capitalised on a defensive error. Tier 2 League Cup winners is a nice consolation to not getting promoted, I suppose. And next, we move on to the most sought-after cup. Oh, no, not this one. The JD Welsh Cup final. We were up against Colwyn Bay, who you may remember signed a couple of players from us earlier in the season. They beat TNS 3-1 to get to the final. It was a cagey affair with no goals until the 84th minute when Baccarin headed in a Midgley corner. That combination's been great for us this season. 1-0 up after 84 minutes. That's it, come on. Blow the whistle. Blow the whistle. Come on, ref, blow the whistle. What's this? No, don't play another highlight. And typical, Meredith with a free header on 89 minutes to even up the tie. Typical FM. Your team always concedes late on. You can never just win 1-0, can you? Come on, one more highlight. Here we go. Cotter, it's played into Shaw. Shaw takes a few touches and... Goal! Yes, we did it. Get in. The league table finished like this. We just managed to sneak into second place, thanks to Ammanford having a total collapse and losing their last 4 games of the season. This meant we finished level on points, but with slightly better goal difference. Cambrian and Clydach finished 10 points clear and go up as worthy champions, having only lost twice all season. But looky here, what's this next to our name? Yes, absolutely ridiculous as it is, that cup win actually qualified us for some sort of European competition, so that's a huge unexpected bonus at the end of Season 1. Nice to see Nightingale with most player of the match awards and Laycock with most clean sheets in the league. We've got 10k for each cup final, which means the finances are actually looking okay with 16k in the bank currently. So on to the end of season review. Joe Nightingale deservedly got signing of the season with his 16 goals and 13 assists across 37 appearances. Our team of the season is largely what you'd expect. Luke Bowen topped the scoring charts with 21 goals. Not bad for a 36-year-old. Most league goals, most goals by a player in a match, most assists and most man of the match awards all go to Joe Nightingale, so it's no surprise that he won Fans Player of the Season, Young Player of the Season, along with the previously mentioned Signing of the Season award. The board have allowed 2.8k per week for the wage budget next season, which is a modest increase. So once some of these higher earners leave for free this summer, we should be able to do some good business. They do want me to gain automatic promotion to the Premiership next season, so we can't bottle it next time out. So thank you very much for watching this. If you've enjoyed it, please leave a like. It really helps a little channel such as this. If you want to see more of this series, then please subscribe. That way you'll know when it's happening. I really appreciate anyone who's watching this. Say hello in the comments, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.